What's up everybody on YouTube, AJ Russ back to discuss another video, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most intriguing storylines in this upcoming 2024 NFL season. So guys, with the new schedule release coming out, I think it was a relevant time just to make a video like this. We're going to talk about the schedule release a little bit, but also just some different narratives and viewpoints we have going around the league, highlighting on some teams and players specifically going into this next season, because it's going to be eventful like every NFL season is, but particularly this year because of all the different player movement, new additions, new signings, a lot of different teams getting rid of players, more quarterbacks and teams having more pressure. I think it's just intriguing to talk about right now, and it's a video that I believe is very necessary at this point. But before we get into any particulars and things of that nature, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and turn on post notifications. You know we post about here videos about sports, lifestyle, and pop culture, NBA, NFL, Marvel, DC, cooking videos, shorts, all things of that nature. Let's talk about some storylines ahead of this 2024 NFL season. So with the schedule release coming out, I think it's very interesting. Not only some of the week 1 matchups that we have, because the Chiefs are playing against the Ravens to open up the season, and also week 2 they're going to be playing against the Bengals. So 2 AFC North opponents for the Chiefs right out the gate. That's intriguing, but those are going to be some great games. Love seeing Joe Burrow go against Pat Mahomes and seeing a rematch of the AFC Championship game last year, as the Chiefs will be unveiling their new banner. I think it's necessary and I think it's right. But also I'm intrigued by these Christmas games that are going to be on Netflix exclusively, not only for 2024 but also for 2025 and 2026. It's wild because a lot of these streaming platforms are getting these exclusive NFL games. We saw that with Peacock in the playoffs last year, and a lot of people had their frustrations with that. I believe most people in the country do have Netflix, so that won't be too much of a problem, even though they're starting to continue to boost their prices. And y'all know that password rule they have, that's pretty lame in my opinion, but it's a great marketing strategy for the NFL and for Netflix and just any collaborators who are doing exclusive streaming of games like that. And there's some really good games on that day as well, because the Chiefs are going to be playing on Christmas Day against the Steelers, and also the Texans against the Ravens, a rematch of the divisional round between the Ravens and Texans last year. Those are some great games. And just really, if you look at the schedule release all around, you go back to week 1, the Browns playing against the Cowboys in some afternoon football on Fox. It'll be Tom Brady's debut game as a color commentator. I love that. It's going to be interesting to see how his role goes, how he expands, and how comfortable he gets, and just seeing the perspective of the greatest football player of all time, and for sure easily greatest quarterback of all time. In addition to games like that, as being a fellow person from Texas, from the Houston area, it'll be really cool to see the Houston Texans playing against the Dallas Cowboys in week 11. I'm not telling you what team is my favorite team. If you know me personally, you know who my favorite team is. And also, if you've been watching my channel for a while now, go check out the video I made about the Texans having a better roster right now than the Cowboys. That video did really well. That's going to be a really good matchup in terms of people who are from Texas. We obviously know that the Cowboys are America's team, but also people in the Houston area, and also with the success that they had last season, a lot of people are intrigued to see how that matchup will go and transpire, and who will have bragging rights after that game. So I think that's a really great matchup. And with the new Texans uniforms, that's going to be pretty crispy to see. And also Trayvon Diggs going against his older brother Stephon, that'll be nice. Michael Parsons getting the opportunity to rush CJ Stroud, because we know that they spent a lot of the offseason getting to know each other better, clowning, making jokes with each other, so that'll be cool. But really, to recap for me about the schedule release is that it's really an event now. We see all these NFL social media teams make these elaborate videos and announcements about the schedule. It's an exciting time for sure, because for me, I want to go to some NFL games next season. You get to see strength of schedules and things of that nature. I do believe the Cleveland Browns have the toughest schedule in terms of opponent win percentage going into next season, and the Falcons have the easiest schedule. And that's always relative, because things will change. Not every team is the same each season. Some teams will fall off, some teams will surprise, some teams will stay stagnant. So that'll be an interesting component of conversation. But the schedule release really just makes it more clear that the NFL season is getting closer. Training camp is getting closer. We're at the midpoint of May, really past the midpoint and closer to June, so we're not too far off. And it's a beautiful time, because for me, I love the NBA, and we're in that mode right now in the playoffs, getting closer and closer to the finals. But this also means we're getting closer to the NFL season, and that's a beautiful thing. So next, I want to just broaden the conversation to some teams and some players in particular, and we have to give respect to the Kansas City Chiefs. Do we think that they're going to repeat and be the first team in NFL history to win 3 straight titles? Now, despite how dominant the Chiefs have been, even without them technically having dangerous weapons around Patrick Mahomes, and with them adding a receiver like a Hollywood Brown, drafting Xavier Worthy, the Rashee Rice situation is still up in the air. But if he plays as well, that's a pretty good wide receiver core right there. But even the past couple of seasons without him having a dominant wide receiving core, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they've still been able to win. And do I think that they're going to win 3 in a row? Some people will say you're crazy to doubt Patrick Mahomes and things of that nature. I'm not necessarily doubting him, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It's really giving respect for the rest of the league, because bro, if you let Mahomes win a 3rd straight title, man, he might already be on Tom's level. And I definitely think he's more talented than Tom Brady was, but it's crazy. If the Chiefs win 3 titles in a row, dog, especially in NFL, you know how brutal it can be and how taxing the league can be. That would just really be a testament to the greatness of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the whole philosophy of that organization. But I do not think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a new champion. And we know that Travis Kelce signed a 2-year deal. And honestly, I think he's going to get more looks this season because, like I mentioned, last year he was essentially the wide receiver 1 at the tight end position at the age of 33, 34 years old. But now he'll have some more space with people like a Hollywood Brown, like an Xavier Worthy coming in to relieve some stress as the #1 pass catcher. So I think the Chiefs, they'll definitely win the division. They'll make a deep playoff run. They might even make the Super Bowl, but I just can't see them winning 3 in a row. I'm not doubting Mahomes, but bro, that is a tall task. This isn't the NBA. I know we've seen teams like the Bulls, like the Lakers win 3 in a row, but in the NFL, it's just different. That's why no one has done it yet. But I do believe, if anyone could do it, it would be the Chiefs and Mahomes, but I just not banking on it. Now talking about a team that has not had this type of success since the 1990s in the Dallas Cowboys. One of the most marketable, recognizable, and profitable franchises in professional sports. The Dallas Cowboys, regardless of how synonymous they are with the NFL, they've been lackluster at best in the postseason. Yes, they have great regular seasons, but they find ways always to come short in the playoffs. It's no different in the 2023-24 playoffs when Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers lit them up. And really, if we look at the 2022-23 season, when they played against the Bucks and won that game, that Bucks team was so depleted and fake. No offense to Todd Bowles and that defense, but anyone could have carved that team up. So are we really counting that as a win for Dak Prescott? He's 2-5 as a quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys, and it's not an individual game because there's a lot of factors that go into teams losing the games. In that Green Bay Packers playoff game, the Cowboys defense didn't stand a chance. Dan Quinn didn't give the defense an opportunity to win at anything. They were down and out from the jump, and their run defense was so bad. And that's one thing that's going to be interesting to see with Mike Zimmer as defensive coordinator in Dallas. See if they can upheave some of those flaws in the Cowboys run defense, how Micah Parsons will elevate, because we know how great Micah Parsons is, but it's like sometimes throughout the season he'll lose a step, not necessarily because he isn't as great, but it doesn't seem like he's as engaged at times. And then in the playoffs, we don't see him making those big plays like he does in the regular season or at the beginning of the early parts of the regular season. So that's a conversation that we'll see. But really, going back to Dak Prescott, it really is all or nothing. Now, depending on if the Cowboys sign him to a new contract by the time I make this video, which I doubt, this will be the last year on his contract before being a free agent. And of course, they can sign him next year, and he's making $55 million this year in the cap hit, and the Cowboys were limited on what they were able to do in the free agent market. So it's really going to be a lot on Dak's shoulders. He had a way better regular season in 2023 than in 2022, led the league in passing touchdowns, and that offense is really great in the regular season. But it sucks for Cowboys and Cowboys fans because we don't really care now what they do in the regular season, because it comes down to the postseason. They can go 17-0. Losing the first round, it doesn't matter. It really comes down to that for the Cowboys. What are you going to do when it matters most? And for Dak Prescott, we know how successful he has been as a quarterback in the regular season, but for him, when things are out of structure, when it's not going your way, when there's pressure, when you have to step up to separate yourself and be that guy, are you going to be that guy for? That's a really huge question for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and only time will tell if he'll be able to make those moves. In the NFC, we all acknowledge that the AFC is a tougher conference, but it really just comes down to a lot. And then I also haven't mentioned CeeDee Lamb, who had a fire 2023 season, second in receiving yards, broke Michael Irvin's regular season record, but he hasn't been at voluntary workouts. I do believe that they'll end up signing him to a contract extension. I think the Cowboys are just waiting, like other teams with this wide receiver market, on the Justin Jefferson deal and things of that nature, but that's another component in conversation. And they did have a pretty good draft, I will say, in terms of Dallas beefing up their O-line, getting some linebacker depth, just getting some help for that defense. But really, for the Cowboys, we could see them, like I said, have a phenomenal regular season, but what are you going to do when it matters most? A few weeks ago, I made a video talking about the NFL draft and these rookies coming into the league, and I'm intrigued to see this quarterback situations. I'm not going to talk too much about it in this video because, like I said, I made a video on it. If you want to watch it, go check it out. Just some of the thoughts I have of the NFL rookies going into this season. But for Caleb Williams, for Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, the people who are going to be starting, not Michael Penix Jr. because he's going to be behind Kirk Cousins, I'm intrigued to see how they adapt as rookies into the league. For Caleb Williams, like I've acknowledged before, this is easily the best quarterback situation a #1 pick has went into, I believe, in NFL history, because now you have weapons like Rome Odunze, who they drafted at the 9th overall pick. You have Keenan Allen, you have DJ Moore, you have Cole Kmet. That's a lot of weapons. They didn't do that for Justin Fields. They clearly got everything right and ready for Caleb. The defense is solid, and they really finished off as one of the best in the league in the last few games of the season under head coach Matt Eberflus. So that's an intriguing thing to look at if you're a Bears fan, if you're a fan of the NFL, because they could be a sneaky wild card team. The division will be tough though in NFC North because you have Green Bay, who was ascending. The Lions, who are ascending, made the conference championship game last year in the NFC. Low-key, though, I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay won a division because, like I said, Jordan Love was cooking. But that's another conversation for another day. Jaden Daniels in Washington. That team certainly has added some more veteran help. We'll see how things transpire there. They do have Austin Eckler now at the running back position, so that'll be some help for Jaden. Their defense under Dan Quinn will certainly be improved as they added some people from the Cowboys. They added Bobby Wagner and some other pieces too. Those are some good moves. And earlier I said something about Michael Penix Jr. Also didn't mention Drake May. Don't expect those quarterbacks to be playing right now. Drake May, because he still has a lot to develop. And they have Jacoby Brissett, who will be able to start right now. And Drake May can continue to develop and learn. And also Michael Penix Jr. being under Kirk. But I do believe he's ready to start. But that's the Falcons situation that they put themselves in. But I don't think it's really necessarily a bad one, contrary to what most people have said. Because you ensure you're a quarterback of the future while being able to contend right now. But for those other quarterbacks, like JJ McCarthy, I'm interested to see how dynamic between him and Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, players of that nature will work. If he'll start automatically too, because they do have Sam Darnold, who would be a bridge quarterback to say the least. Kevin O'Connell being the great offensive mind that he is, I think that he would have a great rapport with JJ McCarthy to understand and trust him to start from day one. So that'll be cool to see develop. Also with Bo Nix, you could tell that Sean Payton loves him. Wonder if he can turn into a Drew Brees type in terms of the relationship and dynamic that they have. Not necessarily talking about Hall of Fame talent, but I'm just talking about the rapport that Drew Brees and Sean Payton had. So that's a key conversation and key thing to look at beyond these rookies. And then obviously there's more than just the quarterbacks in that nature, but that is the most important position in football, highest paid position as well. We're going to judge them because there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 12 picks, which has never happened before. That's why it was important just to shed light on that. Before closing out this video, another intriguing storyline that I wanted to talk about are some of the teams that are going to catch us off guard in terms of how sneaky good they could be. Teams like the Tennessee Titans, who y'all should not sleep on, adding in players like a Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, defensively a L'Jarius Sneed. They're building something I believe that's pretty good. And also in the draft, they drafted J.C. Latham, an offensive tackle from Alabama, who I believe will be able to make a really good impact for them. Shouldn't sleep on them to be a potential wildcard team in the AFC. They are in division with the Texans and the Colts and the Jaguars. But like I said, I do believe that the Titans have improved. You can make an argument for the Colts too. I would add the Colts in as another stinky team. Bringing in Anthony Richardson back from injury, as long as he can stay healthy, they'll have a good dynamic. And not even putting anything out there, but if something were to happen with Anthony Richardson, you have a Joe Flacco who proved himself to be still an effective quarterback in the NFL, so I believe that team can make the playoffs as well. They have a Michael Pittman Jr. who they just signed to in a contract extension. They have an 89 Mitchell who they just drafted. He has a chip on his shoulder. I believe that he'll have a good impact as a rookie as well. Still have Jonathan Taylor, who's one of the most dynamic running backs in the league. So I do believe that the Colts have something cooking too. And then 2 more teams in the NFC West that I would say not to sleep on are the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals specifically because them adding Marvin Harrison Jr., new wide receiver 1, he's gonna be a game changer for that offense. Being basically an heir apparent to Larry Fitzgerald in terms of being a wide receiver 1, a potential Hall of Fame player there, a real weapon for Kyler Murray. And they also just added in Zay Jones as well, so pretty solid dynamic between those two. I believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. will have an opportunity to win Offensive Rookie of the Year because of the impact that he's going to have there. And Kyler being back fully healthy, that team under Jonathan Gannon, I do believe that they'll improve from where they were last year. And they gave a lot of contenders last season tough games as well, beating the Eagles, beating the Cowboys. So I think that the Cardinals, they'll be improved. And with the Los Angeles Rams, they made the playoffs last year as a wild card team, nearly losing to the Detroit Lions. They'll be improved. Puka Nacua going into his 2nd season. If Cooper Kupp can stay healthy, that'll be scary. They drafted Blake Corum. He'll be a nice complementary running back to Kyron Williams. That team is going to be dynamic. Matthew Stafford still playing at a great level, future Hall of Fame quarterback and a Super Bowl champion. The Rams shouldn't be slept on as well. I know the Cardinals and the Rams are in the same division as the San Francisco 49ers and the Seahawks too. Like I said, the Seahawks are going to be a team that people shouldn't sleep on as well, but the Rams and Cardinals, you shouldn't be snoring on them either. Now, last but not least, some recap and predictions that I have. I don't necessarily have too many. I just would say for a team like the Buffalo Bills, just randomly talking about some teams, I think that they'll still be competitive. I think that they'll still potentially win the AFC East. Yes, we have the Jets returning with Aaron Rodgers and their improved offensive line and their defense being very solid and one of the top 10 in the league. But for the Bills, I still believe Josh Allen is going to show why he's that guy. Them drafting Keon Coleman, I know they got rid of Stephon Diggs and shipped him to the Texans, but Keon Coleman, I believe that he'll be a really great weapon for them. They also signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I mean, he's a solid wide receiver. I'm not going crazy about that, but Keon Coleman, I think he'll be a dynamic game changer for the Buffalo Bills. and just that team still having James Cook, having a full season under new offensive coordinator Joe Brady, they're going to be solid still. Miami Dolphins, we know that they're in Division 2 as well. I like the addition of them drafting Chop Robinson, and they signed Odell Beckham Jr. for what that's worth. No offense to him, but he's just not the same wide receiver. So those are some intriguing things to, look into in terms of divisional rise. For the Bengals, if they can stay healthy, they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. Really, that division every single year in the AFC North is a gauntlet. The Ravens, adding in Derrick Henry, they're going to be ultra competitive. One can make the argument they should have made the Super Bowl last year. Just Lamar Jackson just has to answer the call that matters most. And really, his lack of passing got a little exposed last year. That game against the Chiefs, we'll see if they're able to respond and play better with the second year under offensive coordinator Todd Monken. The Falcons, we talked about them a little bit earlier. Are they going to be able to easily win the NFC South? I do believe that the Bucs will still be really good. Baker Mayfield, he had a redemption season. In my opinion, should have won Comeback Player of the Year. He played great. Brought back Mike Evans, which is an essential and huge thing for them to do. We'll see if they improve. The Texans, going into a second season under CJ Stroud. The actual expectations, will they answer the call? Will they easily win a division? Will they be a Super Bowl contender? Those are some real questions that we'll have to see fulfilled and answered. In Green Bay, Jordan Love, do they continue to capitalize? Do they win a division in NFC North? I mean, there's just so many different conversations to be had. But yeah, guys, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. What are some intriguing storylines that y'all have for this 2024 NFL season? If I mentioned some of them, let's talk about them. Or also some that you think that I didn't talk about. Let's chat in the comments down below. Let's talk about this upcoming NFL season. I'm so excited and hyped for it. It's going to be great. Who will lift the 59th Lombardi Trophy? Only time will tell. I appreciate you guys watching always. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss, and also on TikTok at SwaggyRuss02 for cooking videos, shorts, reels, content, things of that nature. More videos always on the way, guys. Like I said, this summer is going to be huge for the channel. Going to be posting a lot of content. Y'all just stay tuned. Y'all be blessed. Know that God loves you. He has amazing purpose and great things for you guys. You are loved. Y'all be blessed, and y'all have a good one.